So I wanted to make this video because although there's a bunch of stuff out there on modes, it's not always explained in a way that you can actually use practically. But hopefully with this video you'll actually be able to use modes in real life, playing actual music. So, with that out of the way, let's get on with the video. When you first start looking into music theory, modes can seem super daunting. But the best way to see them is as a major scale with one or more of the notes altered with either sharps, moving a note up a semitone, or flats, moving a note down a semitone. That way, you can jump effortlessly between two modes by adding a sharp or a flat, regardless of how weird the key or the chord changes are. So we're going to go through all 7 major scale modes, going from the lightest sounding to the darkest sounding. First up is Lydian. So Lydian is just your normal run-of-the-mill major scale, but it's got a sharp 4. So let's take our old friend C major, or C Ionian if he's feeling fancy, and sharpen the 4th degree, which in this case is F. Then guess what? You just made Lydian. Good job. You did it. I'm so proud of you. So Lydian's this super bright, floaty sounding mode, and it's the brightest sounding mode in the major scale because of that sharp 4. Nice. So that's 1 down, 6 to go. And the next one we've covered already. It's Mr. Fancy Pants himself, Ionian. No sharps, no flats, just the regular major scale. Au naturel. So now we're getting into our major scale modes with flat note alterations. From our C Ionian scale, we're going to take the 7th degree and we're going to flatten it. And that gives us Mixolydian, which is just a major scale with a flat 7. Now Mixolydian can sound kind of Celtic or kind of Indian, but the important thing with all these modes is for you to come up with your own associations of how they sound. Like, what do they remind you of? Cool? Cool. Now for the next mode, we're going to keep that 7th degree flattened, and now we're going to flatten the 3rd degree, which gives us Dorian. And that's our first minor sounding mode. So it's that flat 3rd that makes it minor, but having that natural 6 in it gives it a bit of a lift, which makes it a bit brighter than a natural minor scale. And speaking of natural minor, subscribe for more sick segues. We're going to keep all the flats that we have so far, flat 3 and flat 7. And now we're going to flatten the 6th degree, and ta-da! Aeolian, or the natural minor scale. And the flat 6 is what separates it from Dorian. So say now you had a chord progression that went C minor to F minor. Well, you could just shred C Aeolian over it. But say you had the same thing, but you had a C minor going to an F major. Well, then you could just change the flat 6 to a natural 6 and shred C Dorian over it. Let me know in the comments if you want a video that covers chords and modes and how they interact, because honestly, I could talk about this stuff all day. Cool, so far we've got a flat 3, a flat 6, and a flat 7, Aeolian. But now it's time to add another flat. This time we're going to flatten the 2nd degree, which gives us Phrygian. A Phrygian sounds super dark and mysterious, and it's that flat 2 that makes it sound all ooh. And you'll hear people say that this mode sounds kind of Spanish or Egyptian, and yeah, I guess it kind of does, but you gotta make up your own mind for how it sounds, you know? Cool, so last, and probably least, we've got Locrian. Now for this mode, we're gonna keep our flat 2, our flat 3, our flat 6, and our flat 7, and now we're gonna flatten the 5th degree of the scale. Now Locrian's the weird mode that we keep in the basement and feed fish heads. The flat 5 in Locrian kinda makes it unstable, but it might be a great mode to create tension with, so just play around with it. Hey, we made it! So those are the 7 modes of the major scale. And explaining them this way gives each mode its own character and colour and feeling, as opposed to thinking of modes as the major scale starting from a different degree. Because that creates a disconnect between what you hear in your head and what you play on your instrument. Whew, that was a lot of information, but thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. Let me know down in the comments which topic you'd like me to cover next, and until then, stay sexy and keep making music.